Welcome to week 8 of the best year of my career, a year where I intentionally tried to take my musical career to the next level. And doing that by focusing on 4 areas: music, money, marketing, and mindfulness. This week I'm probably going to be one of the heaviest videos I've ever made. Social media ruins my life, it ruined my career, pretty much crushed my dreams. But it's really a complex issue. And complex issues require complex solutions. And boy, it got me into a pretty big pickle. It's essentially, I came to Nashville in 2021 intending to be working in rehab for musicians with chronic pain and injuries. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. I thought it was a brand new chapter for me. And when I got here, it was a little bit more challenging than I thought. And I didn't realize, but I was really struggling with my dreams and what I wanted. And I was confused by all of that. And I already had low self-esteem and low confidence just from life. I've always struggled with that. And social media really capitalized upon that and exploited it. Was it the reason for it? No, but it took it and ran. I'm not blaming it all on social media, but what I do want to say is that I wish I had been aware of it. And that's why I wanted to make this video, to help other people. And to also just own my shit, for lack of better terms. And really it all boiled down to was that I wanted to be a musician. I didn't think I was good enough, though, to be a musician again. I started this whole different identity where I was helping people with serious issues, and I was the one that could fix them. And people valued me. People paid me for that. And I felt like I was worthy, but it didn't satisfy me. And instead of really addressing that conflict, I just distracted myself from it and I avoided it until everything just came crumbling down around me. But let's start this conversation by asking ourselves, why does social media exist? What is it for? Quite frankly, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they all exist for one thing: to make money. How do they make money? By entertaining and distracting us, by captivating us with bright colors and keeping us locked into this whole cycle as long as possible. It's very similar to TV, except we carry our phones with us and social media all day long. It's literally by our beds when we go to sleep and wake up, and by our sides all day long. And this creates this extremely strong bond that is wildly difficult to break. It becomes a part of us. You don't need to seek out information anymore. It seeks you out. The algorithm knows what you're likely to engage with. It knows what to exploit. And consuming this media requires zero effort. All you have to do is scroll. And think about it. What happens when you scroll? The algorithm, the platform, mixes all sorts of news, good and bad. And this is deliberate. It tries to engage as many of your emotions as possible. First, you read a story about something that enrages you. Then you see something that makes you laugh. Maybe something that arouses you. Maybe something that makes you envious. And all these random, rapid-fire mixed messages of emotions, they cloud our ability to not only think clearly, but to feel clearly. Don't believe me? Ask yourself this. After 15 to 20 minutes of just mindlessly scrolling, do you ever feel more relaxed, more calm, more certain of yourself? Or is your anxiety ticked up a little bit? And everything is distracting in this very intentional way for one specific reason: to hold our attention for as long as possible so we can be sold as many products as possible, so we can develop an addiction. Why? That's what makes money. That's what sells things. What do you do when you're waiting for coffee? Probably look at your phone instead of being present with your thoughts. So what do you do when you're feeling anxious and distracted? Look at your phone. But then your phone makes you more anxious, less self-assured, and that's where the cycle all begins. With that constant loop, our ability to think clearly is really clouded. And this is probably the most powerful and dangerous part about it, is that social media and our phones, they essentially offer effortless existence. They transport us to a place where everything and anything is possible, so long as you don't leave. But while you sit and consume on your couch, at a stoplight, on the bus or train, your life, your dreams, your relationships slowly but surely erode. They slip between your fingers like grains of sand. And sometimes you don't realize till things are pretty far gone. And you try to turn the car around and you try to navigate towards a clearer path towards your dreams, get them back on track. And that's hard work. And you start feeling anxiety. So what do you do when you feel that anxiety? I'll look at my phone, give myself a distraction, pacify myself. And then that loop starts over again. And before you know it, you are just in this cycle where you're using something to fill a void, but that thing that you're using to fill the void is really widening it. So how do we stop this and change this pattern of consuming everything that comes our way? I don't know, but for me, I'm making intentional efforts to only consume what is relevant to my goals. Instead of passively consuming everything that the algorithm is feeding me, I'm more focused on what I'm consuming and when I'm consuming it. Specifically, I keep social media off my phone. So I have to actively seek it out. So if I need to post something, I need to go to my computer. And I go to my computer a couple times a day, morning, evening. This way, it's not always thrust upon me. And this helps me add context to what I'm consuming and when I'm consuming it. And it's not that I don't have these dreams and desires. It's actually social media is really influencing and clouding them. And I found the more I step back, the more everything starts coming into focus for me. The more clarity I have, the more calm I have. And it's not easy. And it took me a while to really dig down and figure out what my dreams and desires were. Why? Because so much of social media was selling me on what my dreams and desires should be. Because that's what social media does. Products aren't selling you the product. They're selling you a story behind the product. If you just have this piece of musical gear, your groove will be this much better. And they have somebody see this person using this gear. You're not thinking about that gear. You're thinking, oh, I can be like that person. I can do all these things. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to have the world's fastest one-handed stroke roll? I don't know. I've just realized that the constant exposure of all this is not having a good influence on me, or my life, or my dreams, or my relationships. I'm trying to be more intentional with my consumption. What's your goal of looking at Instagram when you just scroll mindlessly? Is it doing anything for you? Maybe sometimes it makes you feel good because you get likes and affirmation. Oh, I'm doing something great. Or maybe you feel bad because you're not getting them. But both kind of keep having you come back because you either want that affirmation or you don't get that affirmation, you get that anxiety and you want something to pacify that. So you look at your phone again. One thing I've really noticed about myself is as my social media consumption goes up and my screen time goes up, my happiness, my fulfillment, my calm goes down. My relationships in life go down. My dreams get muddied. Conversely, if I step away from social media, it's not easy. And it doesn't happen right away, but over time, I feel much more calm, much more present. And really, when I first moved to Nashville, I struggled with that. I just didn't have the tools to combat it, and I was afraid to ask for help. I was afraid to say I was scared. I was afraid to say, I don't think I'm good enough. And instead of seeking help, I just decided to bury my head in the sand and distract myself. I lost a lot of good musical years. I lost a lot of good years with people I love because I was in cyberspace and not out in the real world. And even when I got back into music, I would say, I need to have social media on my phone because what if I get a last second call for a gig? But what I potentially gain by being here is totally nullified by what I lose in reality. I might lose out on a gig if I'm not constantly by my phone, but I gain so much more if I'm present. Also, I want to push my career to this space where people can wait for me in the morning or at evening to respond if I can do a gig. And if not, that's okay because I'm trying to intentionally build a healthier life for myself. And I do realize the irony of this, sharing this message on social media, runs pretty deep and rich. But my whole stance on social media now is twofold. One, I need to let people know who I am as a musician. They need to know that I can play. And so there are examples like an online business card. But two, when I started focusing on YouTube, I decided I wanted to do something real and help people. I wanted to create a resource that I never had growing up. that I never had in the past couple years, that answered the real questions. That wasn't the smoke and mirrors, but here's some useful information, learn from my mistakes. And I want to help other people learn from my mistakes. Also, if I put this in a newspaper, do you think anybody would read it? Probably not. So I can use this system to help change it, to help dismantle it in a way. I'm just not going to get sucked into it. And just turning social media off the answer? No, there's so many other things. Like right now, I begin each day with meditating for 30 to 60 minutes. No phones, no nothing. And sometimes that meditation is just a walk, but I just want to be present with my thoughts. Then I journal. I go to therapy once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times actually. Is it easy? Is it fun? No, not at all. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Is it scary? Yeah. Is it painful? Yeah. But I would rather be alive and address my past errors and learn from them and share that information with other people than continue to make those mistakes, bury my head in the sand, or just put my head down and trudge forward. I'm incredibly anxious about putting this out, but it's something I feel really passionate about. Social media can be pretty corrosive and toxic. Like I said, it just destroyed my life from the inside out. And I'm not saying this is a boo-hoo story, because you can make mistakes and you can recover from them. There's always time. You can always make changes. I didn't play music for 10 years. I was afraid to start over again. That first year was wildly scary. This year is wildly scary, but I am really fulfilled. I had to go through hell and back to get to where I'm at. I think part of me still is in hell, but I'm aware and I'm moving forward. And I want to let other people know that it's okay to struggle. It's okay to be unsure, to have self-esteem issues, to go to therapy. If you found this video useful, helpful, instead of me talking about liking, subscribing, following, all that jazz, bookmark it. Come back to it later, watch it. Share it with a loved one. Really think about it. You only get one life. Do you want to spend it out in the real world or on a screen? Do you want to spend that being present with your loved ones and enjoying those simple, calm moments of just nothingness and the mundane things in life? Or do you want to be being envious of somebody else from some other side of the world? Do you want to spend time enjoying your instrument, playing your instrument? Or do you want to spend time feeling less than because you're watching some 7-year-old in a different country play better than you can ever play? By no means do I have answers. This is just a discussion. But I think it's an important discussion. And that's really what I try to do here. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate all the people who watch and follow. And if this helps you, thank you. That's my honor. See you next week.